stupid. Everybody's so stupid.
Good thing about doing comedy in Russia, you have captured audience.
You're stupid. Everybody's so stupid.
Comedy History 101.
Dude, a frog! Frog baseball! Get him!
Yes, to be continued. No animals were harmed in making of this. So what we just heard was a brief clip from the Mike Judge animated short Frog Baseball. And so Scott, what yeah, that's a good way. So ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of
Comedy History 101.
where we talk about the history of comedy. Go ahead, you can do the bump, bump, bump. Yeah, so I'm Harmon Leon, and with me, as always, is non-robot talking voiced Scott Calonico. Or you could do your own intro. There we go. Yeah, Scott Calonico. Yeah, so welcome back. This is our first podcast of 2018. And Scott, you know what else this is the first for? The first podcast we've done where I have a new microphone. Yeah, it might be a little bit echoey, but we do have a new mic because it's kind of about our theme of 2018, onward and upward. With a new mic. Yeah, a new name for our podcast, 101 History Comedy. Beep beep bah. Like even our tonation is backwards. Or our sting, it's our sting. Oh, you call that ironic? Oh, nice. Or they just go on the Instagram. Yeah. So anyways, what we just heard a clip from was from the 1992 animated short Frog Baseball, which was designed and created by who, Scott? Mr. Mike Judge. And no, you go, dude. I met him once through Johnny down at the Velveeta Room. Yeah. Because what we do is we drop names here on Comedy History 101. And as we do. But the thing is that was the animated short that spun off into the TV series Beavis and Butt-head. And if you've been living under a rock for the last couple decades, Beavis and Butt-head was the animated series that ran on MTV from 1993 to 1997, and then again it picked up again in 2011. What would you say the premise of Beavis and Butt-head is? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Right. So, it could, so what you're saying is it could or couldn't be Albuquerque. Interesting. But we have some of Mike Judge's earlier work that might even signal exactly where that was. So, Frog Baseball originally was a short created in 1992 for Spike and Mike's Sick and Twisted Film Festival, and it was shown at the Midnight Show. 92. Yeah, yeah. So for those who might not know what Spike and Mike's Sick and Twisted Film Festival, before there was YouTube, you had to actually go out and see animated shorts at a cinema or on a VHS tape. What does VHS stand for? Yeah, you had to see it on your video home system. Yeah. See, I don't think I had comment. It would hate that. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So how it came about was someone from MTV saw the short at Spike and Mike's Sick and Twisted Film Festival, and then it premiered on a MTV show they had called Liquid Television. Yeah, there's a lot of like I remember of Liquid Television, a lot of animation that looked like Max Headroom, like Beavis and Butthead. Yeah, that was kind of like the animated YouTube of the time. And then now you have YouTube, so there's really no place for a Liquid Television. Yeah. So why don't we spin back and tell a little bit about who this Mike Judge guy was and how he came into doing animation. Go ahead, jump in at any time. I'm just reading down the list. So why don't we both trade off on the segments on this? So it's right. Yeah, that's right. I think his father worked for a nonprofit organization promoting agricultural development in Ecuador, which is kind of brainy. And his mother was a librarian. So he didn't start out in animation. He went to the University of California in San Diego and he studied physics. Yeah, no, that's not the party school. The party school is San Diego State. Yeah, I know because I went one semester. Yeah, no, that's actually a prestigious good school. Nor- Oh, that's way up north. Yeah. The UC Californians have a lot of party schools in their system, like Northridge, San Diego State. Yeah. So he was becoming interested in a career in science and began to focus on animation and creating short films. But before that, so after graduating in 1986 from UCSD with a bachelor's in science and physics, his first job, which later gets focused on the show Silicon Valley, was working as a programmer for the F-18 fighter at Support System Associates Incorporated. Yeah, exactly. And then in 1987, he moved to Silicon Valley to join Parallax Graphics. Am I pronouncing that right? Yeah, which was a startup video card company with about 40 employees in Santa Clara. So, go ahead. Sure. Nice, dude. And also in the movie Bend It Like Beckham, the women's soccer player, how it all pays off, she gets a scholarship to go to Santa Clara University. Yeah, a little trivia. You learn things here, comedy history in 101. But what's a startup video card company? So you're just you're creating just software to up your game on video editing? No, no, no. And who is Tim Ramire? Right? Hmm. Oh, wow. Mhm. Yeah. I think I saw something about that, but I heard that theory of kind of Renaissance era painters that they were projecting onto the wall and painting it. Hmm. So when Mike Judge was working in Silicon Valley, how did that go for him? Did he like it? Did he dislike it? Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. What I've learned from like living in San Francisco and working for startups is when they say we can't pay you a lot right now, but we're going to give you a lot of stock shares in the company equity. That usually means you're going to be fucked over. Yeah, sure. Yeah, is he a known entity? I'll drop in a clip here. Yeah, so basically, he got fed up with the Silicon Valley sort of lifestyle, and he toured with a blues band as a bass player. But in 1989, after seeing animation cells displayed in a movie theater, Judge purchased a Bolex 16 millimeter camera and began creating his own animated shorts. Like, oh yeah, that's what I think of when I think of Bullocks. So, and again, so what, do you know anything about the process of that when he's shooting with a 60 millimeter to create? So he's just creating hand-drawn, animated cells and then shooting them individually with a Bolex? Wow. And so to create like something like frog baseball, like how painstakingly do you think that would take to achieve? Hmm?
Frog baseball! Get him!
Yeah. Yeah, I think it works for him. But Judge was like the highly critical of the animation, just looking back in retrospect, that he actually didn't really like the, you know, uh, coming from like 2018 eyes, didn't really like the animation done in the early like Beavis and Butthead. But, I think it works. Yeah, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, no, I think it works, but like the animation style you were talking about, that's like again, that's like a trick from like early Hanna-Barbera type cartoons where only like one little portion moves and everything else is sort of stagnant or reused. Hmm. Oh yeah, and so just to refresh everyone, like the Starter Frog baseball in the original Spike and Mike twisted animation version is Beavis and Butthead are watching like are channel surfing like Suzanne Summers, Thigh Master, and a few other just crappy sort of TV commercials.
I guarantee it. Tonight at 9.
Then I found Thigh Master. With Thigh Master, it's easy to squeeze your way to more shapely hips and thighs.
Just sort of laughing at it. Yeah. I, I just remember that dude going, not only am I the president, but I'm also a client. Yeah. Yeah, so easily the pitch of that was like instead of what if instead of like having infomercials they were watching MTV videos. So and here's a quote from Mike Judge of how he describes the early animations of that frog baseball era Beavis and Butthead. He described it as awful. I don't know why anyone liked it. I was burying my head in the sand. So kind of critical, kind of critical. Yeah. So, anyways, just to go a little further, like into the very early Mike Judge animation era. So, in 1991, he created a short called Office Space.
Oh, hello, Milton. What's happening? I'm going to need you to go ahead and move your desk again. So, if you could go ahead and just get it as far back into that corner as possible, that'd be terrific. But that way we'll have some more room for some of these boxes and things we need to put in here.
Well, okay.
And, oh, there's that stapler I've been looking for here. Let me just go ahead and get that from you. Thanks.
Well,
okay, so if you could go ahead and just get to that as soon as possible, that'd be terrific.
Well,
all right. Thanks a bunch, Milton.
okay.
Bye-bye.
Yeah. So actually, Comedy Central in 1991 acquired Office Space following it appearing at an animation festival in Dallas. And it's in that same sort of Beavis and Butt-head style. Are you okay, dude? Oh, right. What, that information went down the wrong way? So that was a part of a series of shorts called Milton's Series of Shorts. So the lead character is Milton, and as we all know, that spun off into the non-animated feature film Office Space. And as a matter of fact, here's the stapler scene from the feature movie Office Space.
Hi, Milton. What's happening? I'm going to have to ask you to go ahead and move your desk again. So
no.
If you could go ahead and get it as far back against that wall as possible, that would be great.
No.
Yeah. Okay. Anyways, it's word for word. So, again, like Mike Judge had all these ideas and, he later reused it, like going from, one of his first animated shorts, Office Space, to, his time in the 80s working on Silicon Valley, to create the TV show Silicon Valley. Mm-hmm. No, I don't. Yeah. Scarcity creates demand. Economic theory. Yeah. Yeah, in another KG MTV move, I think they paid Mike Judge maybe $10,000 to get the rights for Beavis and Butthead, and he had none of the merch like in his contract. Yeah, I think it paid off in the end, and it worked out for Mike Judge in the end. But yeah, he got basically in the initial contract, he got screwed out of all Beavis and Butthead merchandise, and by far there was more money to be made in the merchandise. Yeah. So, anyways, going back to early Mike Judge's stuff that led to Frog Baseball in 1991, he also had a short called Inbred Jed.
First, I'd just like to say that it's really great to be here. I mean, it really is. It's real good. Good God, it's good to be here. I don't know where to begin to tell you. Damn, it's good to be here.
Which also, I think it was financed by Spike and Mike's Sick and Twisted Film Festival, as I read.
Play some Skinner, man.
Yeah, so basically just explain the plot of Inbred Jed, that animated short, let our folks who are listening know.
Before you decide to have children, check to make sure that you and your spouse are not related. Remember, inbreeding is everybody's problem.
Oh yeah, and again, here's another tie to Beavis and Butt-head. The aforementioned character you just spoke about, who yells "Play some Skinner," was later named Dave and appeared in a few early Beavis and Butt-head episodes. Most notably, the episode "Way Down Mexico Way." But here is the overreaching loop that ties this all together and brings us back to modern day Mike Judge and Beavis and Butt-head. When Frog Baseball, the Beavis and Butt-head short, first appeared at Spike and Mike's Sick and Twisted Film Festival, how the short opened was a title card that said Inbred Jed's Homemade Cartoons, with the character Inbred Jed staring at the camera and cackling, kind of like the MGM lion. Yeah, so again, that tied into like early Mike Judge's early animation, which forwarded into, like, spun off into Frog Baseball with Beavis and Butt-head, which spun off into the Beavis and Butt-head MTV series, which, and this is we're on the home stretch here, and we're gonna wrap this all up nicely, which spun off into King of the Hill and the not so often mentioned Good Family, which spun off into Office Space and Silicon Valley and Idiocracy, bringing us back up to date with the Mike Judge we know, which all started with his animated shorts and his time working in Silicon Valley. Oh, really? That's pretty cool. Yeah. Nice. And so then, just to take us home, Scott, what do you think Frog Baseball's place is in comedy history? Yeah, I guess That's an excellent summary because he was part of the DIY culture, you know, and he just like, okay, I know there's this film festival out there. I have these ideas. There isn't a YouTube. I know he didn't say that to himself because he wouldn't know what a YouTube is. Yeah. So, you know, the next best thing to YouTube was just, you know, film it yourself and get it into this animation festival. And you know, it was a huge festival back then, you know. Yeah, and by the way, just a sub note, the golden boy of that festival was Bill Plimpton. Yeah, and again, even in Mike Judge's early animation, you could see a bit of a Bill Plimpton style within the animation. Yeah. Yeah, so there we go. We wrapped it up with a nice bow. Our first podcast episode of 2018 for Comedy History 101. So once again, please subscribe on YouTube. Please comment, donate on our website, Words Over Chair, where you can actually read more about this podcast, and we will have all the clips that we mentioned in the podcast will be up on Words Over Chair on our production company's website. Anything else, Scott? Anything you want to plug? Well, I'm working on one on Mobs Mabley, which will also be a podcast episode. Yeah, and also just last little plug, I have a new book out called Meet the Deplorables, Infiltrating Trump America. It's about my other life, which is going out undercover in disguise and infiltrating extremist groups in America. In this case, it's Trump America. So you can check that out on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, or my website, harmonleon.com. All right, so until next time, bye-bye.
You're stupid. Everybody's so stupid.
Good thing about doing comedy in Russia, you have captured audience.
You're stupid. Everybody's so stupid.
Comedy History 101.